we also agree that the ruling class is using divide and conquer tactics. Okay, they divvy us up into these groups, and while we're all fighting each other, they pick our pockets while we're not looking. That's how it works. Okay, and me and Jimmy agree on that too. But then he's like, yeah, and that's why I'm going to participate in the division of the working class. Yeah, because all of those working people that are brown, well, actually, I think they're the problem. And I think that the elites brought them here to fuck all of us over. And it's like, dude, they're always so close. They're always so close. But then at the end, they're like, and that's why it's brown people. Okay, so anyway. Let's get right into it. We're starting with Jimmy Talks, I guess. And this video is titled Opting Out of the Modern Deranged Slavery System. Okay. So basically like we hate society, okay, as I'm playing Fortnite.
Welcome back to Jimmy Talks. So this is just the musings of a disgruntled chud. I am amused with the hypocrisies. You just need to vote harder. But people were programmed for centuries with the official narrative as being the only correct narrative to follow. We're all told from a young age that the system is here to help us. We are taught to respect our leaders and to pay our taxes and to follow the rules. And maybe if you just work hard enough, you can achieve the American dream. But then you grow up and you get out into the real world and you start to see the cracks in the sidewalks, so to say.
Yeah.
But these cracks are not just small things you can step over. It's more like a Grand Canyon. You will work a 9 to 5. Maybe you even went to college, like they told you to, which is not even always a bad thing. But now you are looking at more than a decade of student loan payments, and you may have not even gone to college for the right degree. You look at the housing market, and you'll realize that the goal of owning a home, which is something that was given to...
Oh yeah, I am eating right now. I will do my best to pause appropriately and speak, but I may be a little delayed if I'm chewing. So
your parents and the generations before them is now just a
so far I agree with
unless you're willing to sacrifice every ounce of joy for 20 years eating rice and beans so you can save up. So not only do you have the student loan payments, you also can't afford a house. You are not really able to enjoy life, and you are ruled by this malevolent ruling class of parasites, which again tells you to get the...
Whoa, bro. Yo, that sounds like extremist communist propaganda. That's what that sounds like to me.
Pay taxes.
The ruling class.
Unless you will end up in jail for life. These same people who will break every single law in the book, and it's not just something like bribery. I mean, like, they're actually trafficking children and stuff with the Epstein Island. These same people will tell you to follow the law and, work. You just work, you'll get it eventually. And then you start to ask yourself, who is this system actually for? Because you people can print out billions of dollars whenever you want. Because it becomes pretty clear that the system is not for you. It is not for I. It is not for the family man trying to put food on the table. It is not for the young Zoomer just starting out. The rules are different for a different class of people entirely. There's one set of rules for us, the vast majority of people, and there's a completely different set of rules for the people at the very top. Now, there's two classes of people. The first one, which is the normal people like I and you. We are the cattle class. We are the slave class to them. We are the ones who are told to keep our heads down, like I just said.
We're more like peasants.
Follow the law, pay taxes for a government that will just carpet bomb a different country and then call it democracy, and they need whatever they need, and we'll set up a fake country there so that we can just go and take everything.
Hear me out, okay? So like there's levels to this shit. Okay, when you're when you're the underclass, it's important to identify what kind of oppressed class you are, right? Because like communism makes the distinction between peasants and laborers, proletariat. Okay, and Marx said that in order to do a communist revolution, you need a strong proletariat. Okay, Lenin disproved that. Okay, and Mao even further disproved that. So, Marx wasn't correct about everything, but he was right that it's important to identify what you are. Okay, are you a laborer? Are you a peasant? Are you a slave? Okay, this is important. Now, it may sound like, well, if I were enslaved, that would be extremely obvious, right? Well, you would think, okay, but go back in time and ask enslaved people under the chattel slavery system if they are enslaved, and most of them you won't be able to convince them. Okay, think about that. Think about that. Like literal enslaved people in America, chattel slavery, American chattel slavery. You could not convince them that they were enslaved. This is what Harriet Tubman said, and I believe it. Because people take their current conditions for granted. Okay? Anyway, with all that being said, Americans are peasants. Okay? We're a peasant class. Okay? Because our education is gone. Okay, we're all stupid now. Because of fucking Reagan. Okay, we're all dumb, we're uneducated. Relative to the rest of the world, America does have a highly educated population. I've said this before. But relative to America, 50 years ago, our population has become significantly less educated, in my opinion. But anyway, what I should say is that decent quality education has become way too inaccessible for average Americans. So I think that we're peasants. We're not super high-skilled laborers, although there is still a lot of that because we're the richest nation on the planet and we have all the resources and the money. Anyway, let's keep going.
We're treated like cattle. A cow whose child cow is slaughtered because we want to eat veal. The cow doesn't do anything about it. It's the same thing with these Epstein people. They are killing kids. They are killing your kids. And it's just supposed to be okay. Don't do anything about it. The cattle are managed and they're milked for their labor, and ultimately they're led to slaughter. Now, I'm not talking about a literal slaughter, but a slaughter of the future and our culture and our communities and our very identities. When our children are fed poisonous ideologies in school that make them hate themselves and want to chop their nads off, when our towns are fundamentally changed by policies that we never voted for, like mass immigration, or when our livelihood is threatened by the Federal Reserve, the expected response from the ruling class is that we simply just roll over and take it, don't complain, don't resist, just be a good, docile animal. Now we're over that class, let me explain the other class of people. This is the parasitic elite ruling class. They are the people who deem themselves as the moral arbiter of the law because they are the elite class, because they happen to be born into that, or the nepotism is absolutely insane. They are the ones who make the rules, and what exactly do we see from them? There is only a corruption and level of depravity. It is almost impossible for the average person to comprehend the depravity that these people go through. They will lecture you on morality while engaging in behavior that would land any of us in prison for life, and rightfully so. They will lecture you about climate change, or whatever the hell that even means, while they fly in a private jet to a conference, and then they tell you that you need to eat bugs and own nothing, while they traffic children and adults. They will tell you to be a good little cattle, but if you are too much of a threatening, dissident voice to them, if you have a semblance of motion or aura, they will blackmail you and smear you if you are a dissenting voice against them. They will destroy and carpet bomb countries that want nothing to do with them and kill and maim the population under the pretext of democracy. And then they will collaborate with the rich CEOs and global bankers to enact mass immigration so that they can get cheap labor from that country and a docile slave population. And they will literally jail you for the apparent crime of wrongthink if you say you don't want to be replaced with people who have a different culture than you, altogether leading to ethnic clashes, who will take your job with slave labor while simultaneously taking your tax dollars to pay for their benefits.
Yeah, that's where the censorship is, bro. That's the side it's happening on. It's, the censorship is happening on race realism right now. Yeah, for real, bro. Like I said, these guys, they act like it's still 2016. Like, what the fuck is going on? They say we act like it's still 2016 with our liberal, smarmy finger wagging, okay? Like what fucking dimension are you living in? Race realism isn't allowed in public discourse? What? The only censorship that is happening in America is anti-Zionist censorship. That's what's happening. That's it.
As they fraudulently milk the welfare state of America dry, and none of this was because it was the goodness of their hearts. It was just because they wanted cheap labor and a divided populace that's easier to rule over. These are the people making the laws. These are the ones that are ruling over you. They will import millions of people from entirely different cultures.
Yeah, they are trying to divide us. Meanwhile, immigrants are evil. Immigrants are evil savages, and they're opening the floodgates. The elites have opened the floodgates. Okay. Okay, man.
create a bunch of societal and ethnic clashes. It just makes it impossible for the native population to unite and challenge all of this. Meanwhile, they tell you that if you object to your own demographic and cultural replacement, you are a bad person and you are the problem. They will label your natural desire
Yo,
to
Tilted's
preserve your
back in
community
the
and
game?
heritage as a thought crime. And I've also heard this argument,
Dude,
however,
it's been
immigrants
too
stealing
long
your
since
job,
I played
but
this.
apparently they're also getting all the welfare benefits. You know, where does all that money go? These are tax dollars that are extracted from pretty much just white people. They are, when you show them.
No, dude, oh my god. Yes, white people are a majority of the population. However, immigrants, they are a net positive on our economy. They pay more into the system than they get out. Do you understand?
Statistics.
And white people do too. Okay, everybody does, and yet we still live. Everybody lives in abject poverty. We're all paying more into the system than we're getting out, and rich people are making out like bandits. And you're saying that the problem is immigrants when they're in the same fucking boat that you are, dumb fuck.
Net positive when it comes to the tax pool. There are some groups that take more and don't give as much, and then there's ones that produce more but don't get anything back for it. And that's just simply what it is.
No, there are some groups of immigrants that produce more than others, that contribute more to the economy than others. But they all are a net positive on the economy. That is a fact. That is an undeniable fact. And you'll say, oh, well, that's because of cheap labor or whatever. And, yeah, it is. It is because they work for less. That's it, bro. But your advocacy shouldn't be, we want to deport them and Americans can have these jobs. Your rhetoric should be, maybe we should start paying everybody more, including immigrants.
People produce the most money
because rich people are making out like bandits.
I know people love to get mad about this race stuff, but it's just real. It's just a statistic. Nobody's just born. There's hey, I just hate everybody one day. I don't hate everybody.
Yeah,
it's just
nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. You are building a straw man. Nobody's saying that race totally isn't real. There are people that say race is a social construct because it is. Okay, that's not the same thing as saying it isn't real at all. Obviously, it is real. As in, it exists in the minds of many, many, many people.
I grew up in.
Okay, that's it.
Right? It doesn't even matter. They're going to hate you anyways for just saying stuff like that. Even if you tell them you don't actually hate them. But anyways, your labor is devalued by the influx of. Yeah. For some reason they get mad at me when I call brown people leeches on society, even though I clarify that I don't hate them. I just think that they are leeches on society. Well, yeah, man. That's fucked up that you do that. That's fucked up that you say that. It doesn't matter if you're like, I'm just a nice guy. I don't actually hate anyone. You're a fucking dumbass. Cheap labor and your taxes go up to pay for the social services for the same influx of people. And again, your voice is silenced by being called a bigot for pointing any of this out. I don't think people really care anymore. You know, that SJW 2016.
Yeah, so then why are you still fucking crying about it? Why are you still they're canceling me? You're right, nobody does care. Nobody really ever cared to begin with. But now it's just obvious that nobody cares. So, what the fuck are we talking about? Oh, woe is me. Oh, I'm gonna get canceled. Oh.
Far and away gone now. But this is just a perfect system of control. They get richer, and you get poorer and more powerless, and they will use their moralistic, browbeating, police-toning language to make you feel guilty for even noticing. And it sounds so silly and stupid when I explain it, but this is what had people under
it does sound
for such
stupid.
a long time.
Yeah.
But these same people, they will say, hey, I do not want to be controlled by a foreign nation in the Middle East known as Israel, that our politicians sold out for cheap money, and a lot of this money that Israel uses to pay off these parasitic politicians who don't get into it for the goodness of their hearts. They accumulated a lot of this over generations of time, going all the way back to the Rothschilds and being money handlers, whilst they tell you that your existence is harmful and bad because you're a white person. I'm like, well, I don't want to just be controlled by a foreign country who does not have my interests at heart. Like, no, you're anti-Semitic, buddy. This is all so fake and gay, right? You may call this doomer pilled, or this video seems depressing, Jimmy. I can already tell somebody's going to say that. That's just the reality of the situation. I think the average person, they may have an idea, but they don't know about the absolute depths of depravity that go down in these political.
I'm just a truth teller. I'm a secret truth teller. I'm just telling it like it is.
They're like evil incarnates in the world itself, with their feet on the earth. They're the most evil people that you could ever imagine laying your eyes upon. But they will smile right in your face and say that you are the bad one. We are the bad ones. Slave class, you are the bad ones. It is much deeper than our leaders that seem to care about the borders of a foreign nation thousands of miles away than they do about our own southern border. They can just say they want someone gone. You know, they'll probably just put them on an airplane and they'll just have the cops do it for them. Like, hey, meet up with me here. I'm a politician. Come meet up with me, and they'll just have the cops carry them on the airplane, and these guys won't say anything because half of our law enforcement system is just absolutely corrupted. And they'll put this person on a plane who's deemed a problem, and they'll just kill them in the sky and just throw their body in the middle of the ocean somewhere. Who's going to know about it? You know, this is what they do. They tell you, you know, hey, don't do this, don't do that, follow these laws. You cannot do this, but they will go and like run the world like it's the mafia. But yeah, this is not an accident. This is just by design. This system is working exactly as it was intended to work. The red team and blue team spectacle is just that. It is a spectacle. It's a puppet show that is meant to keep people fighting amongst themselves over.
Yeah, but look, but you are participating in the division of the working class. Like, this is what makes no sense to me. Like, you, Jimmy, and me, we agree on several things so far in this video. Excuse me. We agree on several things. We agree that working people are getting fucked over, can't afford a home, rent is too high, everything's too expensive, shit sucks, okay? And on top of that, if you're out of work right now, it's difficult to find a job, okay? And the elites, right, the rich people, they are making all the money, and they are not giving it back to us, even though we are making it for them. They are taking it and doing nothing in return. Okay, that's what's happening. That's what we agree on. Okay, but then, you know, when we talk about how do they do, we also agree that the ruling class is using divide and conquer tactics. Okay, they divvy us up into these groups, and while we're all fighting each other, they pick our pockets while we're not looking. That's how it works. Okay, and me and Jimmy agree on that too. But then he's like, yeah, and that's why I'm going to participate in the division of the working class. Yeah, because you know all of those working people that are brown. Well, actually, I think they're the problem, and I think that the elites brought them here to fuck all of us over. And it's like, dude, they're always so close. They're always so close, but then at the end, they're like, and that's why it's brown people doing it. And it's like, okay,
cultural issues,
okay, man.
While the real big decisions, like the ones that drain our wealth and destroy our nation and replace you, are made behind closed doors.
It's almost like these right-wing grifters are trying to use left-wing populism when it's convenient for them, because it sounds nice. And then when push comes to shove, they have to get all racist with it because that's their audience. That's their audience.
Focus
talking.
on transgender issues, which is a problem, yes. But they want you to focus on that, or what some celebrity said on X that's controversial. Because if you're focused on that, you're not looking at the fact that they are systematically dismantling every pillar of a stable and functional society. So I've had people tell me, they're asking me, they're like, Jimmy, what do we do about this? This seems very doomer-like. If we can't actually do anything, like what's going on? Well, I will give you an answer for that. There is multiple routes. There's multiple avenues of approach in this open danger area. There's one where people are thinking maybe we should approach the system and you know, try to infiltrate it. That could work. That could not work.
What's
just
the
like
second
literally
one?
anything. You know, there's things that work and don't work.
Okay.
I think that
that
only works to an extent. I still think it's a worthy cause. I think people should do that. They should try to become lawyers and judges and get institutional backing, absolutely. But you know, there's going to be some people that will be absolutely rooted out, and the gatekeepers are there. They don't want you to get into their global elite pedophile satanic worshipping system. They will go through years of vetting, and you know, if you laugh at the wrong joke or
yeah, famously, there are no judges or lawyers or anybody that has laughed at racy jokes or been overtly racist. Yeah, famously. There are no overtly racist judges.
Something like that, they may just silently fire you. You know, you're not allowed in the big boys club anymore. Then there's the alternate solution. I still think we should try to do the infiltrating thing, but there is an alternate path, which is building parallel institutions, which is good. You don't want to be a part of this fake and gay system. However, the only problem there is that you don't have a lot of institutional backing. It doesn't make you look legitimate to normies. So I think both of these routes should be used, though. It's kind of like a attack from all angles kind of approach. I think we should do both of these. But for a lot of people, simply the first step for anybody, it doesn't matter which way you ultimately decide in the long-term planning game. But for a growing number of people and everybody, the answer is to simply just opt out. This doesn't mean drop out of society and live in the woods, although if you want to do that, you can. I don't want to do that personally. It sounds like a very hard life. But opt out of their games and their system and their moral arbiting. I think that's the first step. You just look at everything and you think it's bullshit. Like, hey, this is all fake and retarded and gay. I'm going to go buy some Bitcoin and like my money.
Yeah, the buy Lena approach. Oh, yeah, bro. That's so participating outside of the system, yeah. Oh, I'm going to go buy Bitcoin. Fucking dumbass. Yeah, you know what? You know what just screams operating outside of the system? Buying fucking Bitcoin. Dude, it's 2026 now. What? It's the current year. What the fuck are we doing, man? What in the goddamn are we doing?
Completely devalued. Because
Oh
my
my
taxes, we just spent this money out, and my taxes are going to pay for Somalian child daycare centers, which are ran on fraudulent operations. We're just giving millions of dollars to people who just got here a year ago. Meanwhile, these hardworking Americans who've been here for hundreds of years are too broke to afford health insurance, so they just don't go to the doctor. Yeah, that's what I say. That's what I mean when I say opt out. It's not in a violent way. It's just in a spiritual and like practical way. This is the very first step. No matter what, no matter who you are, people need to declare their own independence from this corrupt.
Yeah, I don't really agree that that's a good solution. Okay, yeah, changing the system from the inside, I don't really agree with that either, but I get it. Creating parallel institutions, whatever the fuck that means, is not real, because in order to, like, create actual local institutions, you need to, like, codify them into law. Anyway. Like, you need government backing to do it. Government collects taxes. You need the money if you want to help people. That's how it works. So anyway, my suggestion is that we tear the system down, okay, violently or non-violently, and then we erect a new institutions that, aren't rooted and centered around catching escaped enslaved people to bring back to their masters. That's like our starting point for some of these institutions. Okay, the ones with the most power anyway. Like the intelligence community. Okay, that's right. For those of you that don't know, the police were originally slave catchers. Interesting.
Disgusting, satanic, pedophile, evil, malicious system. People need to say, I will not play your rigged game. It's not for me. This game is not for me. It's not meant for me to win anymore. I will not validate your illegitimate authority a second longer. So I've chosen a long time to just opt out of all of this together. These people want to kill me and replace me and call me bad just because I'm a little bit of a chud. They want to enact their depravity on me and make my wife lesser quality, whilst, again, calling us and me the evil ones and giving us the illusion of choice of red team and blue team and creating so much propaganda that they get their little Goyim foot soldiers to attack me, like communists, Antifa, maybe not even just me, but just other people in general. You remember the BLM riots? That was a lot of like foreign influence and communist propaganda being pushed onto us. They have a lot of...
That's literally what you're doing.
No, thank you. I'm checking out of the system altogether. People need to realize that the system effectively has declared war on you.
You make politic videos on YouTube. The fuck do you mean you're checking out of the system? Are you? Are you really? You're saying let it rot, buy Lin, like the Chinese? And you think in order to achieve this goal, you should buy gold and Bitcoin?
It is that serious. That's why I use the word war.
Genius.
I'm not going to come up here and start glowing and being a Fed on YouTube, like Fed posting. But that is really the mindset that you should have. They have declared war on you. There is two classes of people. There's the subservient cattle, rule followers, like we went over earlier. And then there is the moralistic, grandstanding elites. Yeah, they just don't care about you. So I think that people should more so focus on what they can control. This is what a lot of this channel is about. I'm like, I seen a guy on X.
I mean, you can't go too long without Fed posting as a conservative commentator anymore, because you guys have the institutional power. Okay, so you have to defend the institutions. You can't say they're controlled by Soros, controlled by the communist globalist. So you have to defend it sometimes. That's what you do.
He replied to me. It's one of my followers. Yeah. He was like, "Yeah, Jimmy, you tell us to stay in shape.
Bro, I don't make the rules."
I thought that was pretty funny, and I was like, "True, that is what I do. Focus on things you can't control. That's what I talk about on here. Turn off the mainstream news. I know everybody on here has done that, but go tell your normie family members within reason. You can't just go up to them and start saying stuff that may seem foreign to them because they've been programmed. But yeah, don't let them watch that kind of stuff. Or say don't let them because you can't control what other people are going to do. But maybe try nudging them in the right direction. Hey, this news station that nobody really cares about, the legacy news is what they call it. But you should try telling people like, hey, they're just poisoning your mind with fear and division. A lot of people may or may not agree with you. If they're younger, they'll probably agree with you. And if we have like the
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You are sowing fear and division. Say what you will about the communists. They're evil. They're evil. They want to kill. Okay, communists are united. They are. Say what you will about them. They are united. across all nationalities, all, like, they don't give a fuck. The only thing that they care about is the purity of your rhetoric, which is problematic, okay, but that's another point, okay. Anyway, you are literally sowing division because you're saying that brown people are the problem. They are the problem. They are pushed here by the elites to create a problem. They're not the problem, man. They're not.
Boomers status quo, maybe. Not to say that they're all bad, but Gen X is pretty much a boomer light. I'm making generalized terms here because I know someone's going to cry about it. That's fine. It doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you. But anyways, the next step in doing all this is to get a strong local community. Now, people are like, Jimmy, where do I meet people? Like, I totally agree with you on this local community thing. Everybody always says, hey, get out there and like start touching grass. Like, absolutely, but how do I start? It doesn't have to be like some organized mission all the time. You meet people organically. That's the whole point. You can do this by going to a local church. This sounds kind of funny, but maybe you get on a church security team and you start meeting some other base dudes, and that's just like, okay, but that's not good enough. Okay, you know how I met some of my shooting group people? I met them at the private shooting range that I'm a member of. I've also met people because I went to a pawn shop just to look at the guns they had. You'll find some pretty smoking deals in there sometimes, not all the time. A lot of the local gun stores tax the fuck out of you. Taxing meaning they jack the price up compared to online. But I like to support the local gun stores still sometimes if they're cool. A lot of them are FUD boomers, but this one wasn't. So I was in there and I was talking to the clerk and I was, oh wow, that's sick, man. Who brought that in? That's how I met another guy that I'm cool with. Just talk to people, man. Just get out there and do stuff. You can just go do things. There's social clubs near you. That's a little bit more boomer coded, but those do exist. There's political groups near you, young whatever you want to get into. Doesn't mean you need to go all the way through with it. There's college courses, there's meetups, do stuff like that, man. You have to put yourself out there and find what's in your area local to you. So that is part of building a local community. Just make some friends, right? If everybody's lonely, this loneliness epidemic, then there are other lonely people out there who want friends. So go fucking find them.
This is decent advice. Okay. This really has very little to do with like these issues. Okay, in politics and in debate and arriving at the truth. But this is decent advice. Go outside, touch grass, talk to like-minded individuals. Okay, try to get out of your echo chamber, sure, but like make friends and just be kind to others. That's decent advice. Work on yourself. I love that, man. But again, the whole like immigrants are poisoning the lifeblood of the nation. You're a racist piece of shit.
Who cares? Like, I don't want to look weird.
You're a bigot.
Who cares? They fart and shit. Just like
canceling you.
Just like me. When I drink a Monster, I have to take a fat shit. I'm not the only person who is in that conundrum. They also are normal ass people, so just get over it. Alternative economies would be the next step here. By that I mean Bitcoin, supporting local businesses. Even if it's not local, it's an online small business that aligns with your values. Give them your money. Give them your money.
True.
It's very important that you do that. You need to pay people who don't wish to see you dead. I still use Amazon sometimes, so I sound hypocritical. But sometimes that's just what I got to do. But I try to avoid it as much as I can, just to put money in my local economy as much as possible. So, yeah, just get some people who are not entirely dependent on the system because we can pay each other. Now, this next one, I would say, it's a little bit. I don't have kids, so I'm not going to go too far further with this whole entire topic here. But homeschooling your children, that's a great way to protect them from the ideological indoctrination centers known as the public school system. That's really just what they have become. We get taught a certain kind of history, and we all know about the publishing that Robert Maxwell's, Elaine Maxwell's dad, he went and published all these textbooks for these American schools. So, kind of don't want my kids to be around that. But this is a quiet secession, and this is what everybody needs to start doing. This is a withdrawal. If I'm buying precious metals and Bitcoin and I'm only going to businesses that support me, or maybe it's not total political with the store, but I'm just putting it in my local economy. It makes you just a little bit harder to rule over. They can't really rule you if you don't recognize their right to lord over you with their moralistic grandstanding while they traffic humans and do drugs and have depraved sex parties with children and they kill people and carpet bomb different countries. They're not legitimate. This is not hey, this is a revolution, guys. It's just about building a parallel society. That's just what I think. It's a society that would be more so focused on truth and honor and hard work, mutual respect, all these things that the current system despises. So, as I said earlier, the ruling class system has declared a war on you, which is decent, normal people of this country. They have declared war on our wallets by printing money nonstop. They've declared war on your family by infecting them with harmful ideologies. They've declared war on history, especially white people. You're all bad, and actually, you didn't invent anything at all. Actually, it was this people, and we're just going to lie about history. Also, we're going to determine your future.
Sorry. Nobody is saying that, okay? White people didn't invent everything. White people invented a lot of things. Some notable contributions to society, to human society from, the non-Western world would be, like Arabic numerals, algebra, shit like that. That's it. Okay, there's more, of course. But But fucking white people didn't invent everything, okay? Sorry. So sorry, okay? White people did invent some shit. They invented lots of things, okay? The cotton gin, that was one of them.
Bug eating, owning nothing, and renting forever goy cattle. So once you recognize that this is a existential crisis, the state of conflict that we're in, you need to realize the first step is defending yourself and opting out. Stop trying to win a game that's designed for you to lose. Instead, start building your own game on your own land with your own people. I'm very big on buying a house with family members, your parents, especially as we get a little bit older. You can take care of them. Granted, they were cool or nice to you, but this is another way to bring back generational homes. I'm very much so a fan of that. Thinking, hey, let's get all of our cousins together. This is what these immigrants do when they come here, because moving out and all that stuff is kind of a Western idea that started in the 50s when people could actually afford to do that. But now we can't. And also our backs are against the wall. We have a knife held up to our neck. So yeah, you should probably get a house with your family. Figure that out on your own. But I think that's a great idea. You're pulling your resources together. It's really the fastest way to upgrade your life. But the goal is no longer to get a promotion within the collapsing corporation known as America. The goal is to build something resilient and beautiful outside of it, because they've taken our Constitution and they see it as a piece of toilet paper and they wipe their ass with it. You know, the Constitution only works if everybody has a mutual respect to honor this document, which they have not. They violate it all the time. We have a bunch of gun laws and mass importation of a bunch of different random ass people. They just print money out whenever they want. This is not the ideals of the Constitution. It hasn't been for a long time, so they don't respect it at all. It's not cool. So we need to start creating lives that are meaningful, and they are rooted and they're free from this toxic influence, and they're full of freedom and liberty. This is just a polite way of saying no thank you to their offers of a degraded existence. It's about choosing reality over their lies. You want to choose community over their manufactured isolation of the loneliness epidemic, because they wanted to push the cultural Marxism of feminism onto you, and you're choosing faith over doom and gloom despair. I'll tell you now, too, this path is not easy.
What the fuck are you talking about, man? The manufactured loneliness epidemic to push feminism? And Marxism? How? What?
This is going to require a lot of courage to go against the grain. Also, waking up can just be a little bit painful and doomer pilled. Some people might smear you, or they'll criticize you for whatever reason, because they're the Goyim system's best top soldier. You'll be criticized by the system itself that you're rejecting, but it doesn't really matter, because this is the only path that leads to genuine freedom and a future worth leaving to our children.
Nah, man, I like laughing at you. I like pointing and laughing. You're stupid. That's it, okay? I'm not crying. I'm not angry most of the time. Sometimes you do say some racist shit that genuinely does make me angry, but this video, not really. Not really. Kind of
counting on your
milquetoast.
compliance, they're counting on your fear, and they're counting on your distraction. The most powerful weapon you have is to deny them all three. Just
why do people keep recommending this guy's channel to me? He's so boring. He's so boring, and he has no motion. 10,000 views in 16 hours. He's got 50,000 subs. What?
Away from the clown show that they put in front of you and told you that
That's
you need to listen
nothing.
to. Just focus on what's real and what is true and what is right in front of you. You need to rebuild from the ground up. That's why I'm never doomer pilled.
I mean, it's not
there's
that
a means,
bad, but...
there's a will, there's a way. That is how we win, though. That is my opinion. You can infiltrate and do all that. That's totally fine. I support that.
Yeah, man. You